This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is Janet Yellen versus Jerome Powell. So this pits, and in the old days they had these things where they'd have rap battles, the ancient rap battles of history, which are great fun to watch. I'm not sure if they still make those. But if we were to rap Janet Yellen, who is the Treasury Secretary, and Roger Powell, who's the chairman of the Fed, I think that from my perspective, all bets are on Chairman Powell as the more sane thinker about finances in our country. Janet Yellen, who has sort of politicized the office of the Treasury Secretary and backed the narrative of President Biden on every issue that our debt's not a problem, I think is woefully out of touch. Either she's become totally political, but she's someone I used to have huge respect for, or she's lost her marbles. I think those are my two options. Or the third is she might be right, but I don't think so. We're now at about $34 trillion in debt. We're at a spot where $1 out of every $6 spent by the federal government will have to go to interest payments. Former Fed Governor Chris Dudley this week said that the U.S. is on an unsustainable financial track. He's completely right, and I appreciate him stating the obvious. Chairman Powell, in contrast, is in this horrendous situation where he's going to keep on having to raise rates, which does so much other damage to the economy in trying to fight inflation. But he's got no choice if he wants to fight inflation, because with the government adding 3 to 5% to inflation every year through $1 trillion to $2 trillion deficit, he almost has no choice. That is incredibly inflationary and stupid. So you've got this issue, the ancient rap battles of history, Chairman Powell versus Janet Yellen. I give the victory to Chairman Powell. We'll see how this plays out. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity Podcast. If you like this theme, if you find this interesting, feel free to text me, 773-766-5322. If you're the first person to text me, if you comment on it, Powell versus Yellen, any comment you have, any thoughts, plus, minus, you disagree, you think I'm wrong, I don't care. You're the first person to text me, you haven't claimed the victory card in a while, I'll send you a $100 Amazon gift certificate. I'll send it today, 773-766-5322. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity Podcast.